Welcome to the Retail Reality Show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the newest episode of the Retail Reality Show, a show where you know the hosts through the coolest dances when the jingle comes. So I did a little bit of air guitar. If you're listening to this, please check out our Spotify, check out our LinkedIn. There's videos. It's nice to watch as well. Today, we have a very exciting new episode with guests that have not been here in this combination, and we're super happy to have them. But first, let me introduce you to our newest co-host, which is Yael. You've already heard of her in one of our episodes, so we've introduced her, and she's joining us as a permanent co-host. So hi, Yael. How are you? How are you doing? What's happening?
Hi, Nicolas. I'm doing well. I'm doing well, and it's great to be here again.
It's nice. Yael's in Israel. It's warm. I'm in Basel. It's rainy. Our guest, Michael, is also in Israel, so he has it also warmer than here. But as I've heard, Yael, it's getting colder. But maybe, Yael, you want to introduce our guest to our listeners today.
Of course. I was actually very excited that Michael agreed to be on the show today. I think everyone that is in retail or retail tech in Israel knows Michael Mitrani, who is the VP of e-commerce and innovation at Super-Pharm, the biggest pharmaceutical chain store in Israel, which also launched a few years ago the biggest and probably the most successful marketplace in Israel as well. And I think it's going to be one of our discussion topics today because it's a really, really interesting success story. And yeah, I think Michael and I know each other already for almost 10 years. We've been to quite a lot. Michael spoke at some of our events. We partnered on some initiatives together. So I'm very excited to maybe I'll manage to learn one or more new things about you today, Michael. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me, Nicolas and Yael. I'm very excited to be here. Hopefully, I'll have something new to provide, some new information.
We're looking forward. Michael, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit? Like, who are you? What's your background? Let our listeners know a bit about you.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I'm located in Israel. My name is Michael Mitrani. I'm currently VP of e-commerce and the innovation and product. I manage some different departments within Super-Pharm. I've been here for 15 years. My original background is computer science, so this is what I studied for my first degree. I used to work as a programmer and a team leader for a few years until I shifted to retail. I really got here by mistake. I did my MBA at INSEAD in Singapore and France, and then I really wanted to do something related to marketing, but marketing that is related to consumer facing. Not the kind of marketing that you do.
The boring cyber marketing.
Yeah, exactly. So I was really excited, I think, about consumer behavior and the psychology behind marketing. So I came here really by mistake, found a place that had no really digital assets or anything like that 15 years ago, which is typical. And throughout the years, built that.
So, like, if you had to describe your company in like a sentence or two, because when I did my research, I saw a lot. There's lots of countries. There's marketplace. There's pharmacy. There's physical retail. There's so much going on. So, if you had to describe it to somebody who doesn't know it in like 3 sentences, how would you describe it?
So Super-Pharm originated from Shoppers Drug Mart in Canada. It started in Israel in 1978, 47 years already, 46 years already. And it's the biggest pharmacy chain in the country. Basically, the core of the chain, it's very similar to the Boots concept or CVS or Walgreens in the US. So basically, there's always a pharmacy in the store. Mm-hmm. And around that, everything related to health and beauty. Specifically in Israel, Super-Pharm became also the biggest cosmetics player in the country, like beauty player. So people buy beauty products more in Super-Pharm than other places. Maybe the main competition is the duty free in the airport, but the majority of the sales really are coming from either the pharmacy, the beauty sector, or everything related, to body care, like toiletries and these kind of products. So that's the core of the business.
A few years ago, there used to be a marketing campaign that relied on the sense that when you go into a Super-Pharm, you already feel better. And I think everyone remembers it. And this is really the feeling when you go into a Super-Pharm store. It's always very nice. The experience there is very welcoming, and you know that you're going to find whatever it is you need, whether it be like medicine or self-care or beauty or whatever. Like I go to the gym every Friday, and then I have a Super-Pharm branch like right next to the gym. So at least like once or twice a month, I would go in because I need something for the kids. And then I would also buy something for myself. Why not? I'm already there. So, and it's very convenient because there are really a lot of branches. I think the second biggest retailer in terms of number of stores in Israel. So it's really everywhere, just to give
Super
people
interesting.
context.
So we have 300, almost 300 points in the country and 80 in Poland as well. So we are active in Poland. And for those who don't really know Super-Pharm, so it doesn't feel like a pharmacy when you go in. So people, especially women, will say they go to relax. They go to Super-Pharm, to get out of the noise of the house and everything, to chill. This is the place for them. To test beauty products, to try on a new perfume, whatever.
So in a way, if I may ask you, you're closer to let's say a department store or a beauty retailer than the idea of like everyone would have of a CVS somewhere in New York.
Yeah, I think in terms of experience, it's probably closer to going into a Sephora that we don't have in Israel than anything else. But also, if you need some, drugs, you go to the pharmacy as well.
Who doesn't need drugs every once in a while?
Exactly.
So we always start the podcast before we go into all the business question with a couple of icebreaking questions. So let me give you the first one. I mean, it's a bit of a bullshit bingo kind of thing, but still, it's interesting. What's your favorite Gen AI tool these days? So which one do you actually use? Which one's the one that every day, like is on your phone or on your laptop or wherever?
So obviously, ChatGPT and Claude, I let it compete between each other. But because I also do programming, as I mentioned, I use Cursor a lot, which is a very cool tool. If you want to program, you basically write your kind of prompt within that tool, and it writes the code for you, and you can fix sections of the code. So really, I started to play with it, a couple of months ago, and since then I've done some like remarkable stuff that I probably could have written myself, but it would have taken me weeks, and I did it on a Friday. Whether it's an app for my Apple Watch to see the financial details of our marketplace that I want to see, all the time because I'm addicted to the numbers, or just some other tools that I created very easily during the weekend with that. So I love that, kind of Gen AI additions to programming. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's cool how it actually accelerates instead of replaces. So you basically are able to do what you want to do much faster. It's just a great tool. Yeah, cool.
I'll go next with the next icebreaker, which is, what was the last thing that you bought? Where did you buy? Did you buy it online, in store, in Super-Pharm, or?
The last thing I bought was AirPods on our marketplace, actually. I did it last week. It arrived a couple of days later. I'm happy with the product.
Very nice. So you're a loyal customer. That's good to know. And then the last icebreaking question, and then we dive deep into the serious stuff, is when it comes to physical retail, because obviously, like, you guys have a digital presence, which seems to be quite impressive, and having like the most important digital marketplace in the country. But at the same time, you have a lot of physical stores. You mentioned the Sephora experience, like your favorite physical retail experience in general in the last month. Has that been, and where has it been?
Can I say Super-Pharm?
Of course you can.
No, I like going into our stores. I especially like we have a tour every year that we do as part of the management team, and we visit all of the stores before the holidays. So we see in a week around 70 to 80 stores, which is amazing. And every time we do that, I really have this great feeling that no matter where you go into the country, into a Super-Pharm store, they all feel the same. Like you feel at home. There's something very unique about it. So I like that experience. Also, I was actually in Poland a few weeks ago and visited Sephora there, which is always great to see and to get some inspiration from. Either from the click and collect stuff or from the digital stuff they do within the store to the customers. So I like that. I also visited our Super-Pharm stores, obviously in Poland, which it's also nice to find the differences. Like you have all these Christmas products that you don't find in Israel usually,
Makes
which is
sense.
cool. And I think take me into any electronic store, candy store, or a bookstore, and I'm happy.
If you like coming back to the Super-Pharm experience, so the uniqueness and the warmth and the relaxingness of the store, does it have to do mostly with store design and the way things are put together, or is it also part of the human touch? So that's a discussion I think everyone has, especially when you're in e-commerce. How much human touch do people actually need in retail? So if you would describe it, would you say sort of it's a bit of both, or it's mostly store design and the way you put the stores together, or it's more, let's say, the representatives in the store that give that warm atmosphere and feeling?
So my personal feeling, especially for Super-Pharm, it's mostly about the structure of the store, but with the lighting, the smell, and the structure. I think it's less about the personnel, because the personnel there is mostly busy arranging the shelves or managing the cashiers. They will help customers, of course, but they don't interrupt the customers. You know, as opposed to like a fashion store that you go in and someone will ask you, do you need some help? Like, we don't do that in Super-Pharm. We let people handle themselves. If we see that they need help, we'll go to them. But otherwise, we let them, be free and do whatever they want. But the experience I mentioned before, that especially women, again, like to come into the store because of the smell, because there is also like background music all the time that is running, that we actually now do with AI as well. And we can talk about later. So I think it's more about.
I know who you're doing this with.
Yeah, so it's more about the experience. Like, I think that like the physical experience, less about the personal. That's my feeling, at least.
Yeah, it's interesting. So it's like less of a consultational concept. It is more you're creating an atmosphere where people like to shop, but then they shop themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. So like your story of the story in general of your company is quite impressive. So how did you go from that, let's say, rather maybe not conservative, but maybe like classic pharmacy style concept to becoming a international chain with a very strong digital footprint as well? So how did that happen?
Let's break it into two, okay? So first of all, for Super-Pharm, I think the experience was from day one. That was the initial concept. It was never about being a pharmacy and then expanding. It was always about the nice experience and atmosphere around the pharmacy. So the pharmacy is the core of the store, but there's always everything related to beauty and body care that I mentioned before. So that was always there. The expansion into Poland happened in 2000, where we were looking for, it was before my time, but we were looking for places to expand into. As a pharmacy, because of being a pharmacy, there is a lot of regulation, so you cannot just go and open a pharmacy anywhere you want. It's not a supermarket and not a fashion store. Many countries have, even within Europe, have different regulations. Not everywhere you can open your own kind of chain. So Poland was a suitable place to do that. So this is why we started there, and we have around 80 stores there as well. In terms of the digital, I'll first say that we have like separate businesses between Israel and Poland. So Poland has a different team managed by a fabulous team there. They have like their own dedicated team doing everything they have. They have their own platform for e-commerce. They're launching their own marketplace. So I'll talk about our experience in Israel. So again, when I started 15 years ago, in a not very well-defined role, I very quickly identified, maybe because I'm a computer science guy, so I know marketing, I know computers, I know to talk the two languages, or I can do the translations for the two teams at least. So I'm not the tech guy that nobody understands, and I'm not this kind of arrogant marketing guy who thinks everything can be done with technology in 2 seconds. So I'm very good at translating the needs into the implementation. And it started, I think, very subtle, just in like it sounds ridiculous maybe now, but I launched the Facebook page for Super-Pharm. But that was 2010, and nobody really knew how to manage their own like kind of brand pages. So I remember that other companies were launching their own pages, and they were doing like a like campaign, like if you like us, you get a coupon, stuff like that, the ridiculous stuff that we laugh on today. But it wasn't that long ago, and I always felt that if I don't create like a daily kind of content that will create value for the customer. I felt that was the goal. So I needed to create something daily and not just run a campaign and then forget about the page. I needed to answer to customers. And initially, really, I was this like one-man show of running the Facebook page and later like Instagram as well, answering the comments of the followers and everything. There was no customer support yet doing that. They were still just answering calls and emails. So it started like that. Then I started to develop the mobile app that became very successful, like the best mobile app in the country for a retailer company. We were kind of the first company to launch like mobile coupons. Nobody understood back then. Again, it's ridiculous to talk about it now, but nobody understood back then what are mobile coupons. People were asking, how do we print them? Like, how do we redeem the coupons in the store? So it was kind of like our own local invention to do that. And it just, continued. Like I'm kind of, I call myself like an in-house entrepreneur. So I like entrepreneurship. I probably won't be able to do this on my own to start my own startup, but I need this kind of accepting place that I have in Super-Pharm, that I have the freedom and the budget, and the backend to go out and invent new stuff. And luckily, because of all the traffic that we have in store and online, I can try stuff very quickly. So because of that, we played. Like we started an e-commerce website for contact lenses in the beginning, and then we started the other one for the full e-commerce of Super-Pharm, and then we launched the marketplace. So that was the story in short, and we can go into the details if you want.
And how big is it today? I mean, how big is the e-commerce? How big is the mobile app?
So the mobile app is still it's still quite old. It didn't catch up with the website. So the mobile app now is not an e-commerce mobile app. We are in the process of developing the new app for e-commerce as well. But still, the mobile app has around 500,000 users on a monthly basis, around 1 million users like every 2 months. Just to put in perspective for the listeners who are not from Israel, we have the population of around 8-9 million
Almost
people.
9, yeah.
Very similar to Switzerland.
Yeah.
So 500,000 monthly active users is pretty good, and they use it mainly to make shopping lists and redeem coupons in the stores or find store information. So that's the app. And hopefully in a few short months, we'll have the mobile app with the e-commerce support. As for the website, currently it's actually the number one website in terms of traffic in Israel for a retailer company. We have, actually this November, we had 8 million monthly active users, which is crazy. It's like all of the population with their different browsers came into the website to buy. So people come to the Super-Pharm website not only to buy because of the big spread of the stores and basically no matter where you live or no matter where you stand in the country, you'll probably 5 minutes from you driving, you'll find the store of Super-Pharm. People still come to the websites mainly to look at promotions that they will go to the store later on. So we are a very strong player in terms of e-commerce, in terms of sales, in terms of orders. We actually reached the number one Israeli site in terms of orders last November, like this month. But still, if you look at the percentage of the total business, it's a small percentage. So the absolute number is pretty high. Just the physical number is much, much higher.
Well, that is the case, I think, still in most retailers.
Yeah, and it's not a KPI for us. Like we don't measure ourselves and our success in terms of online as the share of total sales. Not at all. Like we look at the total number of sales that we do online, and that's the only goal. How do we increase that? If we can keep the same kind of share, we'll be happier, especially how our CEO will be happy. So because it means we don't affect or we don't take from the stores, which is a big concern always.
Yeah, of course. It's super interesting. I mean, like for us here in Switzerland, I think it's a very different market because we have much more influx of like the adjacent countries. So for us, when you look at the e-commerce landscape here, you will not only have us, which is the biggest department store, but at the same time, there is the Amazons, the Galaxuses. There's like a lot of international marketplaces that are sort of not threatening us, but are our competitors in the digital market. When you look at that, like looking at the Israeli digital market, do you think your success also comes from the fact that basically it is a very locally focused concept? So do you feel the impact of international players a lot there as well? Or is it a market that still focuses very much on the local?
So for sure, there is a huge effect. Israelis really love to buy from AliExpress, and now Temu and Shein.
Yeah.
And ASOS and Amazon as well, that they do like free shipping to Israel above $49. So they love doing that. That's a majority, I think, of the sales. Even iHerb is our major competitors in terms of vitamins and food supplements. It's actually more competition than other local players. But still, I think there is some differentiation looking at, like, we look at them as competitors, but still there is some kind of uniqueness to the local market, especially that we can deliver like in the same day or the next day. So it's really a different kind of approach. A mother who wants diapers for her baby will buy from Super-Pharm. She will not buy from Amazon, even if it's cheaper. And eventually, if you kind of buy these kind of products, well, I think it really depends on the type of the product. So you want an iPhone case, okay, I'll buy it from AliExpress because I don't mind waiting a couple of weeks or 3 weeks until it arrives. I want very cheap products, I'll buy from there. I want better kind of products, I'll either buy from Amazon, but then I'll do my calculation whether I get free shipping or not, whether I need to add tax. So sometimes eventually, in terms of pricing, it will just be a better advantage to just buy it locally. So we look at the local competition as well as the foreign competition as well. But still, there is a place for everyone, I think.
Super interesting.
And we do okay.
Michael, you mentioned before that you're also kind of serving as a head of product. So if we look at the product angle for a second, how do you really decide on which features to develop, where to go, what's the current focus, what's on the roadmap? Do you how big is customer feedback within that cycle as well?
Okay, so yes, part of my team is the product management, and they manage both the mobile app that, as I mentioned, we now make a new one, and the website, and another website that we are launching just now as well, specifically for beauty. And as they say, for product managers, you're not the user, so don't think about your needs or your wants when you develop the features. I kind of ignore that. So many of the features I develop in the app, I was looking at myself going into the store, and the features are what I was missing, and I was developing that. But also listening to the customers. So we look at the reviews, we get all the kind of feedbacks from every channel, either from angry emails that they send to customer support, or from reading comments on Facebook, or just listening to friends who think or say that it would be nice to have that feature. That kind of leads us into what we develop. But I think, honestly, mainly we look internally at what we want to develop. We have this huge roadmap. We would like to develop quicker than we do. Some features are waiting for too long, but still, we have so much to do, even without the external feedback, and usually it overlaps. Usually the feedback that we get from customers is, hey, it would be nice that you'll have an e-commerce app as well. And we tell them, yes, it's in the process. Or it will be nice if you have in-app navigation or something like that in the store. And we tell them, yes, it's in progress as well. So I think honestly and modestly, I will say that many of the feedbacks and requirements that we heard from the public and the customers are stuff that we probably thought of before even.
That's I think it's great to say, in the end, a product manager always is a customer too, isn't it? So in the end, what you're doing is you're combining the two strengths. Yeah. You are you're putting yourself into your shopper's shoes, and then you design new features that seem to resonate well with your community. If you look, I think actually something that is pretty cool and intriguing is you've seen it all. You've seen the development from Facebook to now. What is the most significant changes you see on the Israeli landscape or in Israeli marketplace in general in terms of technology? What you've witnessed, and how did you adapt? Because we've already talked about the Timos and Sheins, but there's a lot of things that happened in the past 10 years. So what are the ones that were most notable for you, for your market as well?
I think, first of all, as a startup nation that they call us usually, I think it's true. And there is something, I don't know if it's in the gene of the Israelis, that they need to create something new, whether for creation or just to make money, I'm not sure. But it doesn't matter. The end result is that There is so much new technologies and so many new startups in every corner for every kind of segment. So retail tech especially grew in the last 10 years. Yael can say more about it because she managed that kind of business. And I think there is a very interesting landscape of different retail tech companies in Israel that will take care of everything you need in the business, from operations to logistics, to customer support, to e-commerce optimization, SEO, whatever. Like there are so many areas, like I don't even remember all of them. So part of my role is also to manage innovation in the sense that I meet startups and I'm looking for new technologies that we can implement within Super-Pharm. We don't try to do everything ourselves, but we do want to be like the hub for startups to come and like for us to be their playground as much as possible. So we like to run POCs. Like I think we have also the luxury of having the 300 stores that we can try stuff and like kind of A/B test in the physical world. So we launch stuff in several stores and other stuffs in others, and then we can do comparisons to get the uplift of what we introduced. So we find a lot of stuff as well for the e-commerce and the digital experience in the physical store, and also technologies and concepts that are connecting these two worlds. So it can be from a virtual try-on that starts from the website, but then especially, for example, during COVID, that you didn't have any testers, for makeup. You cannot use testers and nobody actually wanted to touch a tester. So we had this virtual try-on feature that we just launched it in the store as well.
Nobody wants to touch testers even without COVID.
I never do anyway, but I'm not the target audience. I don't know. But again, we started this for the website because the logic was that, okay, how can you buy a makeup, a lipstick without trying it on? So you do virtual try-on, right? That's logical. But then in the store, it also made a lot of sense. So we put like QRs next to the shelves and people could do the try-on for the products. They could even scan the barcode via our app and see the try-on of that lipstick. So we saw the digital content and digital tools coming into the physical world as well, which was cool.
Crazy. But that, I think, it's a good segue also into the technology part of our conversation. You guys mentioned earlier that there is AI-driven music in the stores. Yeah, you were talking about hearing it, and you know who does it. That's interesting. So it's AI music. So the background music is not the classic elevator music all of us know and love from supermarkets.
It's still the classic elevator music, but we are in the process of finding. We're actually in contact with a couple of companies that basically generate that music based on the AI, like Suno tools and stuff like that. It gives you a couple of advantages. One, you don't need to pay royalties, which is great. Second, you can very easily change the content according to the mood or whatever, the weather, whatever it is. So you can create new stuff on the fly, and it's very easy to play with. And another thing is that it will allow us to probably like turn this into retail media as well. So you can inject kind of like small commercials of suppliers, so between one track to the other or in the middle of those, you'll hear something about the new diapers launched in the diaper section. So
it's pretty cool, actually.
It's very easy to
initiative.
do. Well, and because we control everything centrally, it's not per store, so it's easy to implement.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the data that you can gather about, when you play this music, the sales suddenly increase or decrease, or what happens as a result.
There is another cool project, if you want to hear about it, that we did in the physical store, but it's very technology based on AR. It actually got us the award for the most innovative retailer now in a competition in England. And basically what we wanted to do is to use AR to introduce more information about the product. So again, I mentioned at the beginning when I was talking about Facebook that I didn't want to have like campaigns, just like the gimmicky stuff. I won't say I'm against the gimmicky stuff, but it's never my goal. Like I don't want to create short-term experiences with the customers. I want to create long-term value for the customers. And you already probably saw, AR kind of experiences in different stores around the world, but it was mainly for the kid who gets bored next to the mom and she gives him the phone and he plays to catch tomatoes in the aisle, something like that, virtual tomatoes.
Yeah, exactly.
What we wanted to do is to create actual real value for the customers. And what we did, and it's really cool, we did it with a company called We Are, an augmented reality company. And together with them, we built a platform that basically allows you two things. One, you take digital shelf that you have on the e-commerce with all the filters of the products and all the facets that you want to filter products, and basically put it in the real world. And the way it works is that today it's via phone, but tomorrow it's going to be with smart glasses, whatever the technology may be. And then you put the phone in front of the shelf, and it will highlight the products that are relevant for you. So imagine you go into a supermarket and you are allergic to nuts and you don't know which product you can buy for yourself or not. So you can pick up the product from the shelf, look at the back cover, see if it's for allergic people or not. But it's very time consuming and it's very annoying. And imagine the opposite. You just raise the phone and it will highlight the relevant product you can buy. So you basically filter the real world on the shelf to your needs. And it can be for everything. It can be for makeup that you want to find cruelty-free products. It can be for allergic issues that you may have. It can be just to find your personal coupons. So you want to understand which products on the shelf in front of you have coupons for them. So we use that as kind of a filtering system in the real world that you can see via the phone, the highlighted products that you want to buy. And that's one part. The other part is for the vendors. It allows them to provide a lot more information on the products. So they're not limited anymore just for the packaging, So sometimes they'll put a QR that you can scan to read more information. Now you can just raise the phone, and if there is content, there is a small icon you can click, and there is like an FAQ about the products. For example, you go to the electric toothbrush section. Some of them will cost 50 euros. Some of them will cost 200 euros. Nobody understands the difference. Like, why would I buy the expensive one and not they do the same function, basically. So you can then raise the phone and it will give you like a pop-on video that you can get some explanation or read FAQs or get some information about the product. So we kind of use it as a retail media that we sell to the suppliers. So they are happy because they deliver more information about the products. We are happy because they pay for it. And the customer is happy because they get either more information or kind of like this filtered experience of the products that they need throughout a variety of all the shelves.
This sounds so exciting.
This is what I really like about the fact that, startups sometimes develop technology, but they're not always aware of the specific market needs. So when an early stage startup meets, someone like Michael that has so much experience, this can really help them adjust their current product and make it more relevant for the market, and not just for the end consumer, but also for the needs of the retailer. And I think this is incredible, the fact that you guys are able to make this accessible to the tech companies to make all the knowledge and the data that you guys have, and to help them build products that are more relevant to the market at the end of the day.
Yeah, we really love being a design partner for companies, for startups, mainly because, as you said, sometimes their kind of end product does not like fully fit our needs or the needs of the market. So if we can affect the way that the product looks, it's better. So we don't like to, we won't usually work with startups that don't have nothing but a concept. We need something that works. But on the other end, if it's a very substantial product, like a SaaS platform that work on other places, we'll use those for sure. Like, we have many cases that we use those. But if we can customize stuff for us and for our customers, it will be better.
That's crazy. Can I ask you, this is a bit of a San Francisco question, but among all the stuff you tried, and this is super impressive, like this AR thing, I think many are trying and not many are achieving the level of excellence that you're describing here. So it's really cool to hear. But there must be projects that didn't work. So tell us about something that didn't work, and that was like something where you thought, okay, this could be cool, but in the end, it didn't work out. And then maybe tell us why. That's something that, I think especially many of our listeners are always interested in, to learn not just from the super cool successes, but also from the things we've tried and maybe not achieved.
The bad news, I forgot all my failures. I don't have any stories. I already remember the successes. No, I'm not sure if it's a very interesting example, but one example I have is that we said once we launched the marketplace, and on the marketplace we sell products we don't have in Super-Pharm. So we basically, like the local Amazon, we sell everything from TVs to refrigerators, whatever you want, even car products that are not related to health and beauty and everything else that we have in the stores. But we felt that to raise the awareness of the concept of the marketplace, it was hard. Like, people didn't understand that they can actually buy a television on the website of Super-Pharm. It didn't make sense to them in the beginning, but we wanted to leverage the foot traffic that we have, which is very substantial on a daily basis on the 300 stores, and let people know that we have the marketplace. So a company came to me that basically gives you like very large touch screens, like 80-inch, 75-inch touch screens that you can do whatever you want with. And we basically did like mini sites for the marketplace that we put within the store. So we found interesting places and like visible places within the stores that you have a touch screen and you can browse through the entire catalog of the marketplace. You can add products and then it will send you an SMS link that you can open the website to finalize the checkout. And I felt it's going to be super great. Like, we have like 6 million people in the stores on a monthly basis, or I think even more. And they will all see that we have the marketplace and all of the products that we sell on the marketplace, and it's going to be great. Nobody touched it. It was amazing. We asked the store associates, the managers, like, can you tell us what's happening again on the floor? They said people are not interested. They come to buy the shampoo and the diapers or the pharmacy. They don't touch the screen. They don't pay attention to it. We even brought someone, as a salesperson who was incentivized to make sales on that screen. She stood there for a few days and said, like, nobody listens to me. Like, nobody cares. Like, I try to tell them, like, hey, here is a cool refrigerator. Touch the screen. Nobody cared. So that was kind of a failure that surprised me. I was sure that it will have a better effect.
Do you think it was because people are not in the right mindset, or because they prefer not to interact with? I mean, I know that people are interacting with their own phones in the store, like, with the We Are example that you mentioned, but maybe with outside screens, it feels a little bit, out of context, or...
It feels out of context, and I think there is it's like we see in the pharmacy, people who go to buy drugs, in many cases, on the same time, on the same visit, they will not buy anything else in Super-Pharm. And that misses the point of Super-Pharm, because the point was that you have the anchor of the pharmacy that you go into, you buy the drugs, and then you buy a shampoo that you make some margin out of it. And people don't do it on the same visit, usually. But they do it on other visits. So we do see that it correlates with what we see on the website as well. Super-Pharm versus the marketplace, because these products share the same kind of space, sometimes even in the same category. It's like we don't compete on SKUs, but within the same category, they can be marketplace products from third-party sellers and Super-Pharm products, first party. And we see that people really separate their shopping, even on the website, when they go to buy Super-Pharm products, which is more functional. They need diapers, they need more soap, they need some cleaning products now. They will buy that from Super-Pharm, and then a day later, they will come from Google Shopping because they were searching for a new barbecue, a grill, and they will sometimes by mistake, but they will get to the Super-Pharm website and purchase there as well. So they don't mix. Like, we don't find a lot of mixed baskets of Super-Pharm and marketplace, exactly as we didn't succeed with mixing the basket, let's say, on the physical store.
That's like, it's a very cool story, actually, and it's a very interesting story, because like I think many of us from the retail side have tried to mix digital media with in-store and try to make people buy stuff that's not available in store, and like that endless aisle capacity that not always works. And I think it's a super cool and super relevant story. Like, how do you manage all that data points that need to be fed in? I mean, there must be a lot of data, like SKU level data, like manufacturer data, attributes, like all that kind of stuff. Like how do you manage it? How do you bring it together? Do you streamline it? Do you give out templates? How do you get all that data together to run all these things?
You mean for the marketplace?
Yeah, for marketplace, but also for your own stuff. I mean, the customer is on your website, and as you said, there's products that that you are selling directly, and then there's products coming from a marketplace partner. Yeah. So how do you make sure the customer doesn't get lost because maybe the marketplace partner forgot the description or whatever?
Yeah. So the two, even though they share the same website, the two are separate. So there is a catalog team that manages the Super-Pharm products, and they get the information from the suppliers usually, and they have like minimal data that they need in terms of quality of images or the kind of attributes that we have for different categories. Mm-hmm. We did build a very extensive like taxonomy for the catalog, so we have I think almost now 3,000 different categories and subcategories. Oh, wow. And around 700 kind of different attributes that we have. Some are assigned to others. We are in the process of optimizing that structure. I wouldn't say it's super optimal right now, but it's there and it's working. So for the Super-Pharm product, it's easier because the catalog is in relationship with the suppliers directly, and they get the information that they need. Otherwise, the product won't load to the website or won't even get to the catalog to be available in the stores even. For the marketplace, it's much more challenging, and I think I have a very cool story for you here. It comes back to my programming.
I actually read the story on your LinkedIn recently, so I think I know what it's about. But so it's really actually a very cool example.
Yeah. So the way we work on the marketplace, we use the Miracle platform for the marketplace, and all the sellers have access to the platform. They upload their products, and again, per category, they have like different taxonomies and different kind of attributes they need to upload. So they will usually upload, product image and description and the different attributes. Most of the attributes are optional, meaning they don't do anything, the sellers. So the quality of the product data is not that good for Super-Pharm, for the marketplace products. We do approve product by product before it goes live, but usually we'll compromise. So like we don't compromise, for example, on the quality of the images. But if it didn't, the seller didn't put information about the weight, for example, or about other attributes of the product, we won't mind that. And we prefer to accept the product than reject it, and then have that product sold as quickly as possible. Especially, I'm not sure if it's like the quality of the Israeli sellers or if there's something global. I don't have experience with international sellers. Hopefully they do better. But in the Israeli sellers, most of them will put the minimum that they need, not more than that.
Yeah, sure.
Or some of them will just put everything within the description field. So the entire like kind of attributes and specification. For example, if you take mobile phones like iPhones or laptops, I'll see the entire spec within the description field, and then all of the other attributes are empty. So what I did in a weekend, because I like to try stuff and program, and that goes back to AI as well, I developed a process via Cursor that I mentioned before. And now every new product that goes into the catalog for the marketplace, first of all, I send automatically the description that the seller puts into GPT with a single prompt telling it to just fix typos and do the styling. So never change the content, because I don't want to take responsibility of new content that GPT will hallucinate. Otherwise, the seller will tell me, what do you want? Like, you put it there, not me. So the instruction is never change the content, but just style it. So it makes like headers and stuff in bold and breaks it into sections. So it's much, much, much more readable than what the sellers do. And also the second part, it takes that description with the list of empty attributes for the product and extracts whatever it finds within the description into the empty attributes. And it does a fantastic job doing that. It really optimizes around 500 to 1,000 products per day. The GPT cost for that is around like 4 to 5 cents. That's it. And I still don't have, the information on how much uplift it created, as opposed to like the old versions of the, blocked descriptions that are not able to filter or anything like that. But the product pages look much, 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 much nicer. And now in
It's
the
cool.
second phase, I already like run, GPT to kind of remove background from images that are not supposed to have background if I want only the product itself, and optimize the catalog as much as possible.
This is super cool. And actually, funnily enough, I can assure you, international sellers, it's exactly the same. And
Really?
we're running a project which is quite similar. Bit of a different approach, but also AI tools combined. So it's super cool to hear that for you it also works well. Great. So in the end, we're coming to the end slowly. Yeah. What new did you learn today that you didn't know?
So I did actually learn something new. I forgot what it was. I think there were like one or two new things that I did learn today.
It wasn't very impactful, I guess.
What?
It wasn't very impactful if you forgot
No,
already.
no, it was definitely impactful. But I do remember the large screens that you started with when you launched the marketplace. Yeah, I mean, I do agree that, I mean, this is exactly where the strength of, a big retailer lies, right? You can try and you can test different things, and it wouldn't hurt your brand even if it fails. Nobody remembers. Nobody really cared about a bunch of screens that were, spread around the stores. If it works, then people remember, and then it's a game changer. But if it doesn't work, then nobody cares, and that's just more incentive and more of an encouragement for retailers to try as many things as possible. Sometimes you really don't know until you give it a try, and you can always try on kind of like a smaller scope. You don't have to launch it in 300 or 1,000 stores. It's enough to try in a few stores or on one section of the website, on some portion of the traffic, and just see what works and what doesn't. But I think today's conversations also prove that bringing people from different backgrounds into the roles of innovation and digital and e-commerce always proves itself effective, right? I mean, the fact that Michael has the experience both from the programming background and marketing, and is able to combine both of them together, I think is the real key to making very cool things that other people might not have even thought about.
That's actually a great summary. Thank you, Yael. So we're coming to the final question. It's our final standardized question, which actually yields super interesting results usually. Imagine you, Michael, have to give advice to a CEO of a traditional retail chain, brick and mortar focused, on how to navigate and address the challenges that we're facing in this, let's say, technologically turbulent era of retail. So what would you recommend them to do? What should they learn about? What should they invest in? What are their first steps to navigate this new reality?
I think it's going to be a very cliche answer, and maybe something that everybody answers to the same question about AI. But before that, I will also add that I think what Yael said now also give me some ideas on the kind of advice I could give. So first of all, about AI, really embrace it. It's not like a trend. Okay, it's not another social media that may be successful or maybe not, and we need to see if we can invest in it or not. I think AI, in terms of training the employees, whatever section of the company, it doesn't have to be marketing. Marketing will probably be quickest to implement and quickest to see the results. But if you do finance, operations, logistics, HR, whatever, legal, there are so many kind of use cases that AI now, generative AI now can help you from day one. So I think looking at how to implement these kind of tools and start very slowly, and using like small projects, like I did with the catalog. Okay, so it was just an idea. I tried it. I didn't know if it's going to succeed or not. I wasn't sure if the quality was going to be good enough or just crap, but I was happy with the results, and we fine tune all the time. And it's not expensive at all, as opposed to other kind of solutions that we needed to develop beforehand. Either the time that it took to develop that, the kind of dependency you had on external vendors, maybe the stuff you can do on your own internally, which is really great. So encourage your employees to explore. Obviously, you need to train them on the like the borders of what not to pass. Okay, you don't want to provide like sensitive financial or business information to the GPTs that are open. You want to take your own kind of instances, do the closed stuff. But AI, again, in a summary, is something I think that really should be in focus right now. And also to just connect to what Yael said, to test as much as possible. Like, never be afraid to fail. Never be afraid. Like, maybe in the worst case, you spend some money and it went, to the garbage. Okay. So don't spend too much. Try in small scales if you can. It's not the gold rush. You can try to just try little by little, find the opportunities to do A/B tests. So if it's a website, it's very easy to do A/B tests. If it's a physical world like we do, try to test between the different stores or maybe different kind of locations or geographies if you have several. And I think testing stuff, it's really, really important. And also another thing, and this comes from my, product management experience. I remember in the early days, I wanted the products I launched, especially the app and everything else, to be perfect. And then you understand eventually as you grow up, as a product manager, that your product will never be perfect. You will never be super happy. You will never be satisfied with the result. But you need to cut one day and say, it's good enough to launch. There is always going to be version 2 and version 3. I'm always going to have another job and another day to add stuff and fix stuff, and that's okay. So it needs to be good enough so the customers will be happy and not say, wow, this is like a really shitty application or a really shitty experience. It should be good enough and already dream about the kind of stuff you can improve later on. So that's our approach today. Even as on the mobile application for the e-commerce, I mentioned that we are in the process of developing. There is so much gap between what we plan to have on version 1 and what our dream of that application will be. And that's okay, because we know our customers will be happy enough. It will be good enough for us to do the testing quicker because we launch it faster and sooner, and then we'll just improve.
Well, they say perfect is the enemy of good, so...
Yeah. I think that was a fabulous answer, Michael. And no, that's not the standard answer at all.
I know. Okay.
Because you put so much in there that this probably resonating so much with all of us. It's about being willing and daring enough to try. It's about how to try in little instances instead of trying to create the magic thing in one go. So iterate, be daring, but also always be aware that, as you said, I liked it. It's not the gold rush, so we can try in small steps and implement them. So cool. Yael, Michael, this has been a fabulous conversation. Whoever wants to try stuff and not fail as much as others should listen to us and should tune in, because people like Michael, people like Yael share their insights and share, I think, super valuable and interesting use cases, showcases of what's successful on the market. So you guys can listen and maybe learn from it and copy it and not copy it and not copy the mistakes. We're on LinkedIn, as you know. You can all follow us. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. Just, tune in again. Let us know what you liked and didn't like about the episode. And we're happy to be here for you again very soon.